Welcome to Eco Island Park, where we are going to build an eco-friendly zoo that will only have rescued animals that are endangered and critically endangered. We will focus more on taking care of our animals and bonding with them, reintroduce their offspring to the wild, and next to that, we will also make sure to keep things simple but beautiful with sharing a lot of tips and tricks along the way. Hey everyone, my name is DeLadysigner, and today we are starting a brand new series on the channel. If you are excited for this series as I am, then please do consider to leave a like at this video because it really does help out the channel, and make sure to subscribe of course if you haven't already, and leave some nice feedback in the comments down below. So this is pretty much the island that we are going to work with. I did use the ocean map that the lovely Leaf uploaded to the Steam workshop, and I created my own island on top of it. So if you want to use this island, I also will make sure to upload this one as well to the Steam workshop. This is a diorama, so in case you're wondering, this is why we do have some water. If you decide to have the empty map, I do recommend you to download the free build mod to be able to easily lower the fencing again once you are putting back the water. It's not breaking your game or anything like that. You can just download it for just a second to make sure that you can add back the water into the map, and then you are good to go, and just remove the mod again so you don't have to worry about any issues regarding that. So yes, this is a diorama map. This means that this is a sandbox map, but we did obviously turn on a lot of the challenge mode settings. Now I did change something when you compare it to franchise mode, because now we are starting with still $40,000 of cash, but we do not have any conservation credits, because I do find it interesting to see how many conservation credits we will have at the end of this series when we do reintegrate some animals into the wild. Other than that, everything is pretty much the same as we have in a franchise mode. So now let's see, because we obviously need to make sure that we connect this boat to the island. So I am going to take one of the paths right over here. Now this is definitely already a very interesting point. Talking about eco-friendly solutions, I am going to use this path. Well, not right over here to connect it to the island, but we are going to use this path. And the reason for that is because this path has like this open pattern that allows grass and flora to grow in between it. So it actually reduces like the concrete usage comparing to, for example, an asphalt path. We could also go for a natural path at some point along the way when we are building. But yeah, let's for now just make sure to pick a path of a wooden texture, because I do like that a lot more when connecting it. And we're going to pick the aligned to grid option right over here to make sure that we just have a nice path going on. I do feel like I want to have a little height variation in here, because I don't know, yeah, it doesn't look like it's going really flat on top of the island. Let's first go to elevated length and just pick the 1 meter length right over here. Then we go back, and then if we go out of the grid, angle snap it so it will go straight forward. Do it one more time, and now when we press U, the path will go up, but only in 1 meter. So I do feel like I want to have 3 sections right over here. Let's go straight forward, and then we enter the island. So now the question is, how do we want to build an entrance? I do feel like maybe this corner right over here might be best suitable for a facility or staff area. So I'm just going to lower again with J, and then we are going to start with the tilestone path. So we're just going to make sure that we build a path straight forward, I think, and then just make sure that we have a nice staff area with some facility buildings. So for the staff facility buildings, we are going to add the quarantine, a vet surgery, a staff room, and later on we will build a keeper hut as well, but that one I want to build more close to the first habitat that we're going to build. And we also obviously need to make sure that we have some electricity going on. So for the electricity, we obviously want to pick something that is eco-friendly, so I think we are going for the solar panels. However, we also can pick a wind turbine, but I'm not sure, like, I think there is a difference in the radius. This is a transformer. That one has a big radius. Yeah, and you can really tell that this one has a very small radius. I do think that the negative impact on these buildings might be different. You can't really see the radius around here. Oh, there we go. So the transformer has a big radius around it, and the wind turbine has one as well. But the solar panel does not have a negative impact around it. So that's very interesting. This is the first time I am actually building these type of electricity. I always pick the transformers, but now we're going for an eco-friendly zoo. So obviously we want to make sure that we pay attention to these kind of things. There we go. Now, I do find it an interesting idea to build a solar panel on top of these buildings later on. But for now, obviously, we do need to make sure that we just save ourselves from spending too much money because we're just starting out. And now let's hire some staff, a caretaker, a mechanic, security, and a vet. And let's also already hire a keeper. Now, I do want to make sure that these guys get a little bit more appropriate clothing. So let's just see, because I've never really jumped into that. If we go to zoo and then staff uniforms, let's see if we can change the colors of the security guard. So if we change the blue to something more green, but wait, okay, the caretakers already do have some type of green. So I do feel like that one feels a little bit more realistic than these colors. So I'm just going to copy paste this color right over here and then go to the security guard, paste this number. I cannot see what is happening. Okay, see? Oh, that is looking very nice. So we can do the same with the cap. I think that actually does look nice. Now do the same for the mechanics. So I'm just going to give you the green color here as well. I think I'm gonna keep the trousers color if that matches the green. We have to wait and see. The pockets color I actually do like to keep yellow. And the shoes color, how does that look when you have it green? I think it's perfect. So I do like the green of the caretaker itself, but I do feel like I want to change the orange color just to give it a little bit more of a personal twist. And I feel like I just want to make this a light green color, for example. Okay, that's not really what I wanted. Maybe a little bit more grayish green. Yeah, that's better. That's a lot better. Okay, so I changed the color of the shirt and the hat color as well of the keepers. So they now have a brown hat and a green shirt right over here. Okay, so how would this look? Oh, like that. Yes, I do like that. Maybe we should change the trouser color to the brown color. Yes, that is a lot better. And I actually do feel like we should be naming these staff members. So I thought it would be a fun idea to name these guys after you. So what I want to do, I don't want your last name. So I just want to change the first names of these guys, also to give it more of a personal twist to it, or like a personal touch. So if you want any staff to be named after you, please do let me know in the comments down below your first name, and I will try to pick as many first names as possible along the way as we are naming our staff throughout this series. So we did notice that I forgot to put down a training center. There we go. So we got that fixed. So now it's obviously time to get our first animals in our zoo. So in quarantine right now, we have Lumi and Milo waiting to be moved to their habitats. And obviously all the animals that come to our island need to go to quarantine first to make sure that they don't have any diseases with them, and to make sure that if they are injured, the vet can right away take care of that. And it's good to mention that Milo right over here comes from India and lost most of its family due to deforestation. It's a very naughty red panda that mostly loves to play and hang out in the trees. So that's definitely something we need to take care of when building a habitat for these guys. And then right over here we have Lumi, and Lumi is rescued from a Chinese forest when she was orphaned in the wild, and she was only 5 months old when that happened. It's super sad, and she's been taken care of in a different zoo for a while, but they couldn't keep her there. So that's why they moved her right over here to our zoo, and she's a very gentle and a nurturing red panda, which is just super adorable, and she just loves to take care of other red pandas as if they are their own. So yeah, it's going to be very exciting to see when Lumi and Milo hopefully are becoming a nice pair and going to bring in some offspring in our zoo. So yeah, without further talking, I do think that it's time to build a habitat for these lovely guys in here. Our money is going down pretty fast with buying all these buildings and stuff and getting these red red pandas in the zoo, we do need to make sure that these guys are not getting a habitat like super close to the entrance, because obviously these red pandas are pretty shy. So yeah, when having them close to the entrance where a lot of people come in and out of the zoo, you will get a lot of stress issues with these lovely animals. So that's definitely something we want to avoid. So I thought it would be a cool idea to have a little bit of an indoor and outdoor area for the red pandas. And I want to go for like a round shaped building with like this open space in the middle, and then have like this big tree where they can climb in and some climbing frames around it. And of course, we want to have a green roof with lots of plants or grass or anything onto the roof for that eco-friendly vibe. So we start off with creating a boundary with the null fence and check the Zoopedia how much space the red pandas need. For 2 adults and 3 cubs, you will need 245 square meters and 80 square meters of climbing frame. And by clicking the door of the habitat, you can already see an estimate of the amount of space in the habitat that you made. And then we right away jump into building the round shaped building. And we're going to use the mud pillar technique for that and place a mud pillar in the center of the habitat. If you make sure to turn on position snap, the piece you are using for the wall will mostly snap to the middle of the mud pillar, which will help you to create a perfect round building. Then move the wall piece to the outside of the fences. This will be the inner wall of the building. And then we put down a 6-meter wide path next to the wall to leave some space in between the second wall that we will place for the outside of the building. And then we click the inner wall and duplicate it. So we are able to replace that piece for the roof piece, and it will right away make sure it's perfectly aligned with the inner wall, so we can rotate it with the angle snap to create the roof. We create some nice edges to both sides of the roof to give the building a nice contrast in colors and also give it a more of a modern vibe. And on top of the roof, we will place the grass roof panel from the conservation pack for an eco-friendly touch to the building. So the green roof will make sure to keep the building nice and cool when it's warm outside, so it definitely has a really nice purpose here. And then we cover the floor with the same roof pieces, and then we run our first round shaped building test. By copying the building, including the mud pillar, you are able to put it exactly at the opposite side. Then turn off the angle snap, select everything and duplicate it without selecting the mud pillars so you can rotate the pieces. I quickly realized that the inner wall was too wide for what I wanted, so I took a 1-meter wall to replace the inner wall, which will connect nicely when rotating the pieces. After that, I did add some of the conservation pack slates to the wall to create a little bit more detail and depth to the walls. And then it was time to duplicate all the pieces to create the first part of our building. Now this building is definitely getting into shape. Like obviously we are missing any windows, so that will be replaced once the whole building is completely finished, because I do not want to have windows everywhere. So I really want to pick which walls I will delete and where I will be placing any windows. So yeah, that is definitely a thing to keep in mind. But this building is becoming pretty expensive if you're going to finish it right away. So we're not going to do that right now. We are first going to make sure that we're going to get some fences right over here. So I'm just going to select the whole habitat. And even though it's maybe a little bit weird, I think I'm just going for some one-sided glass for now. So let's just add a path all the way around the habitat, just for temporary purposes, so the guests will be able to see the red pandas in their habitat. Forge box feeder and maybe a herb set marker. Can we add like this climbing frame somewhere? Temporary purposes, I think we are able to work with that. Rubbing pad, maybe a rolling barrel feeder. Shelter. Now we do need to click an animal to show the shelter, so that is not visible yet. Now since this habitat is not as far as I thought, I think it is a good idea to right away make sure to add a keeper hut in here as well. But I do think that we're going to move it, so it's not going to stay here. Okay, so we have a temporary habitat here for the red pandas. Let's just make sure that they are being moved to their habitat. Lumi and Milo. Delivery scheduled. And now let's make sure that we also have like donation boxes and those kind of things, because obviously we will be getting some guests. You know what? Actually, we forgot something. we need a zoo entrance. Going to remove one of the spots right over here. And luckily it's only $10, so it's not costing us anything. So now we actually have a point where guests are able to come into our zoo from the boat. Okay, let's make sure that we have some donation boxes, maybe some benches, and we're going to add some bins in here. Even though there's not anything to sell yet, I don't think that these guests are actually carrying any litter. Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go. We have our first guests arriving at our zoo. I just want to check this. Oh, this is looking very nice, actually. Guests coming in, that means zoo entry is free. Well, not anymore, because we're going to change that. But I do not have any idea what we should do. No, the zoo entry is not free. Zoo ticket price is great. Okay, let's see if we can raise this a little bit. Zoo ticket price is fair. Okay, so $4 right now is the maximum we should do for these guys. Okay, let's have a quick look at Red Pandas. Who do we have here? We have Lumi right over here, and Lumi is super unhappy. We do need to take care of that instantly. The habitat temperature is not good. Now that is an issue because we definitely want to make sure that you have the right temperature. It's 37 degrees right now and you can handle 29 at max. So to save energy, we obviously do not want to make it too cold in this habitat. So we're only going for 28 degrees. Okay, wait, we can actually have this one. The biggest range to see how much it will cover. So if we now have 28 degrees, I'm not going to lower it into the ground just yet. I don't want to hide it just yet. I just want to see what the radius exactly is going to be for this one. Is it enough for the whole habitat? I think it actually is. So that is quite perfect. Okay, so the temperature is good. 98% welfare, which is perfect. Let's make sure that the guests are not going to complain about everything. I wish the zoo had a drink shop. I wish the zoo had a food shop. There's not much scenery here. The zoo ticket price is great. Okay, so food and drinks on it. We are going to right away build at least something for now right here at the entrance. Shall we just extend the path a little bit more of a grid right over here? So we are able to connect some shops without the whole path being like a complete bottleneck because of all the guests waiting at these shops. So if we're going for an eco-friendly zoo, we could actually decide to not sell any meat. If we would do that, then what kind of stuff can we actually sell? So we have Maxalente, isn't that also with meat? We have Missy Good with donuts. Mischerfried. Mischerfried is perfect. And I think we can even sell some pizzas, but then maybe double check the ingredients of it. Let's have one Mischerfried. And drink sauce doesn't really matter too much. I think something like a juice would definitely help these guests in a warm climate like this. We're going to add some temporary benches and bins around here as well. And now it's finally time to look at the first animals of our zoo. Right over here, we have the naughty little Milo, who is probably not that happy yet with its habitat because there are just no trees around for him to climb in. But we will obviously make sure to take care of that as soon as possible. What is really interesting about Red Pandas is that they have like a special adaptation on their wrist, like a thumb or like a sixth finger to help them grip on branches and stuff. We're just pooping on the floor. Milo is 5 years old right now and is 58 centimeters from nose to rump, which is actually a little bit bigger than the average size of a red panda, which is 55 centimeters from nose to rump. And he also has this bright red fur with black legs and this bushy tail that actually looks a little bit like a tail of a raccoon if you look at it. And they use this tail for balance when they're climbing, and they can also wrap the tail around their body to keep them warm in cold weather, which just looks so adorable. And here we have little Lumi, who is 54 centimeters from nose to rump, so slightly smaller than the average red panda. We obviously need to make sure to make her a little spot to build a nest in the near future, so she hopefully is able to give birth to her first cubs. She is 6 years old right now and has a red-orange fur with black legs and tail. Now normally red pandas can already give birth to a litter of like 1 to 3 cubs when they become 1.5 years old. So yeah, it would be really amazing to see her become a mommy for the first time in her life to take care of her own little cubs. Is this working actually? Because I thought you were about to use this small fixed roller feeder, but you were not. So we probably don't have any food just yet, but I don't think that will take much longer. Something we actually forgot to add around this habitat are education signs. So we definitely do need to do that because that is also going to help and make sure that we are going to earn a little bit more money. Duplicate these guys also to this side. So we have 2 education signs for the guests to get some education about the Red Panda. We might want to look into training our staff as soon as possible because that will make them more efficient and work a lot harder. Might be smart to already get in one more vendor just to make sure that these shops won't be closing when someone is taking a break. I did notice that we did not paint or recolor their uniforms just yet. Okay, apply to staff. Yes, that is looking a lot better if you ask me. There we go. Let's prepare some food for Milo and Lumi. What are you gonna give them? I think the food is still set on grade 1, so I'm assuming it is something like vegetables or some bamboo that she's preparing right now for them. Look, there she goes with her bucket off to their habitat. Here we go. Going to try and find some food. You can't really tell what they are eating, unfortunately. Maybe we can see more information about that in the habitat overview with the grades. Ah, right over here, we have diet. So I think this is the grade 1 bamboo, grade 2 maple leaves and bark, and grade 3 is fruit and vegetables. Oh, that's very interesting actually. Oh look, we have a little baby girl right over here. Oh, I'm so happy to see that Milo and Lumi already got some offspring in here. That's amazing. Totally missed out on the mating unfortunately, but it's so nice to see. So the name is Chuhua, but obviously I would love to hear your name suggestions in the comments down below. This is also definitely going to help us with getting in some more money in our zoo because this is going to attract more visitors, hopefully. There are also visitors leaving though, so I'm curious to see if we are able to like change anything. I've seen everything there is. Time to go home. I need to loot. Oh yes, let's just build a toilet building somewhere as well because that is also helping us a little bit with earning some money. And then let's just make sure to some money here. 25 cents does sound good to me. What do you guys think? Now, one thing I do want to do is actually change the settings right over here. Right now, everything is on normal speed, but I do feel like when we want to try and bond more with the animals, I think it is going to be a lot better to like reduce the speed, at least for now, to like the slowest speed possible. Just to make sure that things are not going too fast. Like as long as we are earning money so we can expand our zoo, I think it's going to be completely fine. Talking about money, I think it's time to just let the game run a little bit, make sure that we have a little bit more money so we can actually finish this building. Maybe we can actually look into someone that is going to educate because if you have an eco-friendly zoo, I do feel like it is actually also smart to have an educator walking around and just telling some things about the animals. So I do feel like maybe we should also add an animal talking point in here right away. We are obviously going to change this habitat later on. So let's just right away make this to Red Panda and go to the education tab, animal talk, and make sure that this is called Red Panda. Actually also want to change the habitat name to Red Panda Habitat. So now everything is matching up quite nicely. So we have guests waiting, and who do we have here? We have Hilda Salter. I would love to have a new name for Hilda. Doesn't look like that the Red Pandas are really impressed by the animal talk right over here and all the guests standing still here. So education rating is now 2 stars. We have an animal rating of already almost 3 stars. I'm actually super happy with that. Conservation rating relates to the release to the wild, breeding and use of renewable and recycling. Right, recycling. I almost forgot about that. I want to make sure to use these recycling bins. It's actually the first time ever that I'm going to use these guys, but I think this is going to be perfect for our zoo. So I'm just going to replace all of these bins. I think it's going to be cool. Like, I'm not really sure if anything else happens when you have these bins. So conservation rating, actually nothing helped right over here, but yeah, well, it's only a few bins, so there's not enough to do here. I'm going home. Talking about things to do might actually not be a bad idea to also give the kids a little bit more extra education. So how about we have the education station paw print somewhere over here as well, because I feel like that might help as well for our guests to be more entertained and more educated, especially the kids, of course, because they are absolutely going to love this one. So I did move this one a little bit closer to where the guests were walking, because for some reason it felt like they were just not going towards this education station. But yes, it's now working perfectly fine and these kids are absolutely enjoying themselves. So this is just amazing. And now that we hit $25,000, it was finally time to finish the round shape of the building. Would not recommend making a round shaped building like this in phases, as it's a lot easier to create it in just one go, so you struggle less with filling in the last bit of the brown building. But since this part of the building did cost almost $5,000 every time you duplicate it, I had to make sure to save up some money first. So now that the round shape of the building is finished, this already does look super cool, and the edge on the inside is super smooth. Absolutely love that. But now we obviously need to make sure that there are some windows in here and like a spot where they can enter the building and will exit the building. So going to remove all the path that we have laid out first. Also going to make sure that we are going to remove all the glass walls, because now we do have the boundary, of course, of the building itself. So gonna use some nail fences for that and just move the edges all the way to the sides to make sure that we won't get any escape alerts or something with the red pandas. Now placing back the path on the inside was a bit of a struggle, as I wanted the path to be exactly on the edge of the outer wall so we can later align bins and benches nicely to it. So I chose a 6-meter wide path for this area, but the area with the keeper's gate actually really was a struggle to connect the path with. So if you do this, I would really recommend choosing a 5-meter wide path instead, so you can connect it easier to the keeper's gate and still hide all the path under this floor. So I want to make sure when I put down the entrance that it is pretty much in the center of like these beams, so it's easier for me to open it up later on, and I'm just going to connect it right over here. This is all temporarily still, and then later on we will probably also have an exit on this side, but we're also going to have a path right over here going all the way to the other side. But this is obviously not going to be used, so this is all temporarily. Like, if you don't like these pointy corners, I would suggest place down a path piece and then right click on it, and then it will smooth out in some kind of way. Like, you can see like what is lighting up, so that piece of path will be changed. Sometimes it just doesn't make things any better, so you can just try it, and if you don't like it, just Ctrl-Z and undo it again. Now we have the path in place, we are going to open up the walls to create an entrance, and we will later do the same for the exit of the building. We simply just delete some of the wall pieces and then use the slates to neatly cover the side of the entrance. Now when doing this, I did realize that the building was floating a bit, and it turned out I totally forgot to flatten the terrain underneath the building. So I unfortunately had to redo the whole pathing again to make sure I could lower the building and make it cover the path nicely. And now we also need to make sure that we have some windows. Now it might be smarter to not have windows right over here, because this would right away make sure that the guests would stop walking. But I do feel like this building will be a lot more inviting if we do have some windows here. So I'm going to choose the appeal above the bottleneck in this case. So just like we did with the entrance, we now again remove remove wall pieces, this time from the inner wall, to create some one-sided glass windows. I decided to keep the slates so it would also nicely cover the edges of the glass panels. I did recolor them as well into this white color just to match the frames on the outside of the building and also the edge of the round roof that we have, also to give it a lighter and better contrast to the building. And when I had one window ready, I removed pieces from other sections of the building to be able to copy and paste the whole window to these other spots of the building as well. And we will also do the same on the outer wall of the building, but then we will be using the 2-meter wide glass panels instead of the 1-meter wide panels that we used on the inside. So then it was really time to put the red pandas in the training center, empty the habitat, and to decorate it. I wanted to have a big tree in the middle where the red pandas can climb in, and around the tree there will be a round climbing platform that will connect several beams around the habitat for the red pandas to enjoy. One of these beams will be connected to a little log cabin in the corner of the habitat, and under this cabin we will add a water throw and a lot of rocks to give the area more of a natural feeling. I'm mostly using bamboo and apple trees to decorate the habitat to make it more dense, and the floor will be covered with a few aquatic rocks, some grass, and a few flowers to give the area a bit more color and contrast, and to of course beautify the area. I'm so excited. The habitat is ready, so it's time to bring back the lovely red pandas and see how they are going to react to their new habitat. This is going to be so exciting. There they are. This is so much fun. Because now they have like an actual huge tree. Milo is going to love this. Oh, it looks like Milo. Oh, is going to use this. Oh, look how adorable that is. Oh, I'm so happy to see you use this one. Are you happy? It does look like it. And we're off. Milo is actually exploring the tree, something he just loves doing. Oh, there we go. Checking all the branches. I think he changed his mind. Going right away back again. Let's see what Lumi is going to do. And she's off, gently walking through the habitat, trying to see what is going on, what is new. Oh, this is so adorable. Look at little Chuha. Is she actually going into that little nest cabin that I built? Oh, that would be so cool. Is she gonna take a nap here? Oh no, it doesn't look like it. I wonder if she dares to climb the trees already. Like, she's so little still. And so tiny. There she goes, there she goes. Oh, I'm so proud of you. It's her first time climbing such a big tree. Oh my goodness, it looks so beautiful seeing her in the top of the trees like this. Her first time in the trees, enjoying the view. Oh man, this is so cute. Look at that little face. Isn't she adorable? I'm so proud of her. So let me just show you guys the area. Obviously, we do have to finish everything up and make it all look nice, but this is how guests enter. And I was a little bit afraid already for this bottleneck right over here, but I think it's all right. We can walk around here, and then there's a lot of educational signs. This is the animal talking point, and here we have a little education area. So this is teaching our guests about the deforestation, that is one of the reasons why the red panda is endangered, unfortunately. And being endangered is also due to the fact that they are being poached for their fur and are also vulnerable for inbreeding due to the decline of the number of animals in areas. So we have a conservation sign right over here about poaching, and right over here we have this kids education station, and here we have some names. So we are going to pretend that this is a thank you for all the support of supporting the red panda in this case. And we have YouTube members all over right over here. If you don't see your name yet and you are a YouTube member, of course, do not worry, because we will be doing this along the way throughout the zoo. But this is a little thank you for all your support over the years. And talking about community members, I did ask you guys if you wanted to share your first name with me already, so I was able to name the first staff members. But but don't worry, this won't be like a YouTube exclusive thing or anything like that. So the first name I'm going to use is Marcus, aka Kane. You have been a moderator for so long for the channel, so I thought you would be a perfect security guard. So this is going to be Marcus, head of security. So I trust in you that you are going to make sure that our zoo is as safe as possible. And then this educator is going to be called Heather, and this keeper is going to be named Koen. And Victoria, I thought you would be a perfect veterinarian in our zoo. So yeah, thank you guys so much for sharing your first names with me. And I look really forward to seeing more names popping up in the comments down below. So one thing we should actually do is create a work roster, because obviously we want our staff member to be able to use this keeper hut, which is now not decorated at all. We're going to work zones. We're going to create a new work roster, and we're going to add 2 of these in here, but we also need a staff room, which we do not have just yet in this corner. And we're going to call this work zone Red Panda. Select our keeper to work at the Red Panda work zone. Now I do feel like maybe we should actually also assign Heather to this Red Panda work zone, so you will be like this Red Panda expert in our zoo. So this is the end of our very first episode of Eagle Island Park. As this is a completely new way for me to try and create and edit this new series, I would really love to hear all your feedback in the comments down below. Really would appreciate that. Let me know your animal name suggestions, your first name for the staff, and also share with me any endangered and critically endangered animal suggestions we should be adding in Eagle Island Park. I really look forward reading all your comments. Leave a like at the video if you guys enjoyed, and subscribe of course if you haven't already. And yeah, I just really do hope to see you guys all in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye guys!